As I sit here drinking a cup of coffee while watching episode 5, season 1 of McHale's Navy, a conversation with Bob Wills just appeared in my mind. I hope you understand, Bob, all the stuff I'd have to go through to make it to your day, to your weekend. It hurts you, it hurts me, and it hurts everybody. And some of it's my fault. I just didn't plan accordingly. It's too much, buddy. Too much going on. It's just too much to risk to take the car out today. I'm sorry. If I was a playboy, then he'd fire me. Okay, I get that. But what would he tell me now? Like if he knew me and my situation, my real situation. Would he give me a sideways grin and tell me, "Better luck next time, my boy," in that jolly Bob Wills voice? Or would he try to shame me, maybe accompanied by a joke about young people these days? Or perhaps he'd be upset. I sure hate the thought of Bob Wills upset with me. Maybe he would give me a pep talk like Babe Ruth did to that kid on The Sandlot. Imagine a personal pep talk from Bob Wills. This is how I would hope the interaction would go today if I had to tell Bob that I wasn't going to make it to Bob Wills' weekend. Ah, I see. Can't make it to my show, my boy? Well, maybe we should talk about that. He quietly leans back in his chair behind his desk, reaches into his top drawer and pulls out a cigar box. He smiles big as he pulls out a cigar, cuts the top of it, and ignites a lighter. After a flaming start, the cigar was burning hot, and I continued to watch Mr. Wills as he puffed away vigorously in order to build some ash. Bob says, "I hear you're quitting the show." Tim says, "Not quitting. This is just temporary." Bob leans forward and gives Tim a sideways glare. Bob says, "Last Bob Wills Day you only attended on Saturday, and now you're not even gonna make it for the weekend." Bob spits out to the side of his desk a little tobacco leaf that was caught on his lip. He hands the cigar over to Tim, and Tim grabs for the cigar, and then Bob Wills grabs another cigar and starts the process all over again for himself. When Tim leans over the desk, grabs the cigar from Bob's hand, takes a puff on it, he felt the tobacco high set in almost immediately. Tim says, "I have excuses, and they are real." Bob waves Tim off. No need, what's done is done. If you can't make it, then you can't make it, kid." Tim recognized some bitterness and sadness in Bob's voice. In fact, it even sounded like he was choking up a bit. Tim says, "Bob, if you only knew how deep this goes. It's so many things that add up." "Gibberish, all gibberish. You could have pushed yourself and made it to my day. It's only once a year." Tim says, "Yeah, Bob, I could have, but there were so many other problems on top of problems. There's a risk here." "Life's a risk, son." Tim says, "But it's not just risk. There's mental issues here, Bob." "Issues, smissues. There's always something with you young people." Tim says, "I'm sorry, Bob. I haven't quit, though. I will be back. Please don't fire me." Bob started to see Tim's face turn green. It made him chuckle a bit. A wave of internal emotion hit Bob. He felt empathy for the poor sap. The lad clearly wasn't in his right mind and must have had some deep-rooted issues that Bob hadn't been aware of before. But Bob sees something different now. He leans back in his chair, takes a real long puff from the cigar. He exhales a huge plume of smoke, looks directly at Tim and says, "You're a hell of a playboy and I can't lose you, son. Listen and learn. Tommy and Leon have been working on some mighty fine material, and Al Strickland and I are setting up tour dates." Tim says, "I hope you know I want to be involved, Bob. I really do." Bob looks at Tim, proceeds to tell him, "You're green as a Martian. Go take a shower and get some sleep, son. Stay off those reds and bennies that don't make you look so well." Tim says, "Thanks, Bob. I hope you always consider me a playboy. Bob looks at Tim one last time before leaning even farther back in his seat. He pulls his cowboy hat down over his eyes. Tim exits the office, and as the door slowly closes, he hears Bob's voice chime in one last time. Better see you next year, kid. Tim stops in his tracks in the main lobby for a few seconds in contemplation as the door fully closes. He then leans over a trash can and begins to puke.
As I look at the letters that you wrote to me, it's you that I am thinking of. As I read the lines that to me were so sweet, I remember our faded love. I miss you, darling, more and more every day, as heaven would miss the stars above. With every heartbeat I still think of you and remember our fate.